Employment remains one of South Africa's biggest challenges, and debates around who should be hired often spark strong emotions. This morning, an organization calling itself Labour Law Enforcement is embarking on a march calling for companies to prioritise the employment of South Africans, while also urging compliance with labour laws relating to the hiring of undocumented foreign nationals. However, concerns have also been raised following a video circulating on social media showing members of the organization confronting staff and management at a Shell garage in Overport. While the group says it was responding to complaints from the public, some have questioned whether these actions could create fear or be perceived as intimidation, particularly among business owners and employees. To better understand the organization's objectives, its methods, and how it intends to operate within the law, we're joined now by Mthobisi Shinga, the national spokesperson for Labour Law Enforcement. Mr. Shinga, good morning to you and welcome to Radio Ansaar's Breakfast Rush.
Good morning to yourself and good morning to the listeners at home.
Let's begin with your core mission. What is Labour Law Enforcement hoping to achieve through today's march, and what message are you trying to send to employers across the province?
Okay, the Labour Laws Enforcement is a civic organization that seeks to fight for the rights of workers in South Africa. But within the space of us trying to fight for rights of workers in South Africa, we have also realized through the work that we do that there are a lot of illegal foreigners that are hired at workplaces. So what we have done as well to try and resolve the issue of crime in society and also to try and resolve the issue of poverty into society, we have then decided that we should enter into the space of fighting for unemployment in South Africa, whereby we go into these workplaces and enforce the law by making sure that the illegal foreigners are not being hired at different workplaces. They are replaced by South Africans. So that is the current work we are doing in South Africa, because we have had different programs that seek to address the problem that our society are facing of not being employed. So today we are going to be here at Overport having a march that is going to be going to the streets of Brickfield and other parts of Overport, such as Sparks Road and other parts as well. The reason for that is because we want to do a clear demonstration and show how unemployed South Africans are. Yet every time when we go into different businesses here at Overport, we find there's an influx or there's a lot of foreigners that are hired. So today is a Thursday. It is supposed to be a day where everyone is at work, but then the numbers that are going to be there are going to prove that what we're saying, it is not something that we just thought of somewhere at night. It is going to be visible and be seen by everyone.
For the sake of clarity, Mr. Shinga, are you marching against the employment of foreign nationals in general, or are you focusing on illegal foreign nationals?
We are marching against the hiring of foreigners in general. Let me tell you what is the reason for that. It is because I do not think that here at Overport there is any company that has got some sort of a special skill that is required, and that is going to push them into hiring foreigners when they are South Africans who are languishing at home with no jobs. So the march is basically directed at the hiring of foreigners in general.
Let's talk about a video of your members confronting management at a Shell garage in Overport that's left some people quite worried that your organization's approach could intimidate business owners and, of course, their employees as well. Looking back at that incident, do you believe that it was handled appropriately? And what would you say to those who felt threatened by what they saw?
Okay, the entire thing was handled appropriately from our side. Now what's happening is that the video is not being shown fully, and I've even have it here on my phone, which I am going to maybe later today after the interview put it on our social media to show exactly what transpired before that confrontation. So the leadership of LLE went into that garage in particular because it has been reported that it hires almost or more than 70% of foreigners. They approached the owner, they spoke to the owner, as the video shows it was somewhere just right in front of the door. And then when this guy on this new video that I'm going to show, the guy that was speaking to the owner and the owner, when they were speaking, they were smiling to each other. So the approach was good between the two of them. They continued speaking. During that incident, the wife of the owner also came and tried to have a conversation with the other guys that were there. And also the niece of the owner as well came through and had a conversation. Now, in that instance, when that was happening, one of the ladies that is with us then responded to a question. When she responded to that question, the owner started to be arrogant and said, I'm not speaking to you, to this lady, in a very arrogant manner. So we do not know why the owner did that. If she did that because it's a woman that responded, or what really transpired, what made him angry. Because it was simple. When the other two from his side, the niece and the wife, came to speak, she was also being engaged, and he himself engaged. Then when this lady started to speak and address the matter in terms of responding to the questions that were being posed, then he started to become arrogant and wanted to become aggressive. Now, it's always obvious that if someone does that to you, you are then going to respond in that manner. Hence is why I'm saying that it is so unfortunate that the video does not show the entire thing that transpired, but because the question has been raised now, we are then going to show the video. What I can tell you, my brother, is there are a lot of companies that we've visited and we've spoken to the owners of those companies. There's never been any form of violence. We are very well approachable people. We also have got good manners in terms of how do we approach people. If you pause a fight, for an example, if we just come into a company and kick the doors and do everything, the matters that they are not going to be resolved. So our approach will always come in a form of respect. Now, another thing that I'm going to tell you, which you yourself you might know very well, a lot of business owners, I'm not saying all of them, a lot of business owners are very arrogant, and that arrogance comes from how they treat their workers. If you go to workplaces, or if you speak to some people who go to workplaces, out of 10 people, there are only going to be 2 who will say, no, my boss is good to me, he speaks to us very well. This is something that you might know. I'm sure you have worked maybe in other companies as well and have this information. So when these owners, then when we go to them, they want to have that very same form of arrogance and look at us as if we are his workers. And then when he speaks to us, this is something he always does. So when they then speak to us, they will then think, you know what, I'm still speaking to one of my staff people here. Then that's where the problem starts. But I can tell you, if there was a way of anyone that we have visited their companies, who are prepared to talk and tell you, we have approached a lot of companies and we have had very clear conversations. Some of the business owners tell you, you know, guys, I'm not familiar with the labor law. This thing of hiring foreigners, I didn't know about it, or rather this thing of not paying people the basic minimum wage, I didn't know about it. Therefore, can you please assist me? We sit down with them, we assist them, they're in compliance. So those are the type of business people that we're looking for. And then if we want to end the rate of crime in Overport, in the surrounding areas of Overport, we need to try by all means to decrease unemploymentness. And by doing that, it is to make sure that the local jobs must be reserved for the local people of the community. Because if people are unemployed, they are then going to start and go into our houses. They are going to start and go into our businesses and try and rob us. So let us work together and resolve these matters as patriotic South Africans.
South Africa's constitution protects the rights of everyone in the country, regardless of nationality. Mr. Shinga, how do you ensure that your campaign against illegal employment does not fuel xenophobia?
Absolutely, we are not xenophobic at all. But when we as a country, as the people of South Africa, are confronted with problems, as I've mentioned, of unemploymentness, we then need to start and take it upon ourselves to try and resolve those matters, because the government has failed. Therefore, everything that we do is within the law. The march that we're having today is enshrined in the Constitution of South Africa. Secondly, when we go to a company, we don't go inside and physically remove a foreigner, because that would be seen as a form of violence. It will also be seen as a form of assault. We go to the company, we speak to the owner and say, Mr. So-and-so, we know that you've got foreigners in your company. Please remove them and replace them with South Africans who are unemployed. If the owner asks and say, who are those unemployed South Africans? We take him outside and see this match and tell them, can you see this match with so many thousands of people? These are the unemployed people. Therefore, can you please remove, if you've got 5 foreigners, and take 5 people from this match and employ them? So with all of that, it is within the confinements of the law, because there's no one that we assault, there's no one that we're aggressive against. The match that we have is within the law as well. So that is what we do.
As a final question this morning, what reassurance can you give to employers and members of the public that your organization's engagements will continue to be peaceful, will continue to be lawful, and focused on compliance rather than confrontation?
We can give an assurance. The match that we're having here at Overport is not our first match. We have had a lot of matches before in different types of areas that we know have got foreigners. One thing that we guarantee is peace. We do guarantee peace in every way. We do guarantee that we are going to have peaceful engagements with any business owners that want to speak to us. We guarantee that. But if the response from them is not positive, what else can we do? Because the society that we are leading is very angry. And also at the same time, if we do not step up as leaders of society and say to the society, guys, we understand your problems, we are going to lead you all into making sure that this entire thing is being done the correct way. In fact, the business owners must thank us for doing that, because tomorrow we might not be there, or the society, when the time goes by and it happens that they keep on being unemployed, they are going to take this thing upon themselves. And when they take it upon themselves, it is going to be violent. And when it becomes violence, or rather a protest that does not have anyone that leads it, it becomes the most terrible, and it can even reach a point of looting, because there's no one who's there who's going to be a leader and say, guys, this is not allowed. But for now, since we call it as leaders of society, they must then behave and say everything is going to be done within the confinements of the law. These people are not leading themselves, they are being led by us, and we know what is right and we know what is right. But if this thing does not get resolved, we are going to be staying at home and say, no, these people don't want to resolve it, and leave the society to do as they please. Now that is where anarchy is going to start, which we do not want.
Mr. Shinga, we want to thank you for your time this morning. Can you give the residents of Overport an idea? I know you did a little bit earlier of where your march will be heading today. You mentioned Brickfield Road, you mentioned Sparks Road, just so that motorists and road users would know which areas will be affected by the march.
Our meeting point is at Mall Siles as I speak to you. People who've already gathered at Mall Siles. So we are going to be marching through Brickfield Road, up the robots, and when we get on the upper robots on Sparks Road, we are going to take left up Sparks Road. We'll go up Sparks Road until we reach the top there. And our march is protected. There are going to be the POP police, the provincial police is going to be there, the local police are going to be there, the metro is going to be able to make sure that the traffic is being directed in correct ways. I've spoken to them, they've been calling me, our conversations with them have been very clear. So there will not be a problem at all. There might be a problem of traffic, but unfortunately this is what happens, because at times when we speak, people don't listen to us, but when we take action, then that is where they will start. So people, if they've got alternative routes that they can take, they can do so. Our march is going to start around about 10 or 11 to move on the streets, and then a little bit around about 2 or 3 will then start to disperse.
Thank you for your time this morning, and we appreciate your answers to our questions as well. Have a lovely day.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Have a lovely day to yourself and all the listeners at home.
Join us again tomorrow morning on TBR.